Welcome back to Alpha Recap, your end-of-day market rundown from stockalpha.ai. Markets closed, and we're unpacking the biggest headlines from today. As always, if you have questions, you can reach us at stockalpha.ai. Ready to dive?
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Lots to chew on from today's tape.
Quick hit to start. Litigation notices popped up across biotech, fintech, and crypto-adjacent names. Nvidia pulled back on heavy volume, and a few companies backed an open standard for AI. We'll unpack each. So, what really stands out here is the legal activity. Walk us through that.
Sure. Multiple law firms issued lead plaintiff notices today, naming companies from Grail to Calix to Futu and BitGo, and even GeneDx. That cluster creates what analysts are calling a litigation overhang, basically headline risk that can pressure sentiment across a group of names.
Hold on, say that again. Overhang means the market prices in uncertainty even if nothing is decided yet?
Exactly. Even before a settlement or a court ruling, the mere presence of notices and upcoming filing deadlines can widen spreads, lift volatility, and make traders nervous. It's a timing thing. Law firms set deadlines for lead plaintiff applications, and that concentrates activity.
Give listeners the specific calendar points. When are these deadlines?
The key near-term windows are August 3rd and 4th, 2026. For example, Grail had a notice referencing purchases from May 13th, 2025 through February 19th, 2026, and the lead plaintiff applications were due on August 4th, 2026. GeneDx had an August 3rd deadline. Those are short-term catalysts.
So portfolios with exposure to those names should watch docket feeds and company statements.
Right. I mean, event-driven traders and arbitrage desks pay close attention because litigation produces discrete moves, filings, rulings, settlements. Each is a volatility catalyst.
Short reaction, big move.
Not what anyone expected.
Okay, switching gears to market flow. Nvidia finished the day down about 1.5% to roughly $208.76 on about 109 million shares traded. What did that volume tell you?
That was a notable intraday unwind. Analysts and quant desks were parsing recent earnings signals, and the heavy volume suggests this wasn't a quiet pullback. The question now is whether that volume confirms conviction or was just a near-term de-risk ahead of further commentary.
Right. And the other thing is how that ties into options and other flow. Disney had about 2/3 of its options activity in July calls, with block interest around the $105 strikes and premiums near $7.70. That skew says short-term bullish positioning via options, right?
Yes. When options flow concentrates in calls and at specific strikes, it signals traders expressing asymmetric upside views or hedging short exposure. Combined with Nvidia's heavy equity volume, you get a market that used both cash and derivatives to express views today.
And crypto-linked action?
ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF fell about 1.9% to roughly $8.78 on about 167 million shares traded. Heavy turnover. That showed short-term selling pressure in crypto-linked exposure, and paired with BitGo getting a notice, you had a crypto bifurcation. Flow-led volatility on one hand, legal risk on the other.
That's a lot happening at once.
Yeah, that tracks. And we also saw new finish down about 2% to roughly $14.19 on about 180 million shares traded. Another sign of active churn in popular names.
Let's pivot to analysts and fundamentals. HSBC reiterated a buy on Intel. Needham raised Croc's price target and moved Meta to hold from underperform in an older note. How did those notes move sentiment?
Analyst headlines still matter for near-term flows. HSBC argued Intel's foundry execution was improving and set a target in the low 50s, which can stabilize names when execution signals are credible. Needham flagged stronger demand for Crocs, and analysts focusing on capital allocation for Meta created a different narrative. Strategic patience versus near-term execution.
So, in plain terms, analyst notes can either reinforce a trend or cause short-term reversals.
Exactly. They don't change fundamentals overnight, but they can tilt flows, especially in names with high retail or hedge fund interest.
Quick reaction. Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, I was a bit surprised by some of the moves around commodities and energy names today. Chevron kept climbing despite some bearish commentary. Momentum and valuation narratives were in play there.
Now, one of the more structural items. Solid joined Snowflake and others to support the Open Semantic Interchange, the OSI. Tell me why standards like this matter to the market.
Standards can be a slow burn catalyst. If OSI meaningfully lowers friction across AI pipelines, making data exchange between platforms easier, that could increase demand for platform vendors and data marketplaces over several quarters. It's not an overnight re-rating, but it changes the competitive landscape.
Right. Long runway, potential big payoff. And for consumer brands, Procter & Gamble deployed disaster relief in West Virginia and teamed up with a WNBA All-Star around the All-Star event. Brand moves like that feed into ESG and demand narratives, right?
They do. These initiatives help defend pricing power and resonate with ESG-minded funds. So while they're not financial metrics, they shape perception and can be a defensive factor for staples over the long haul.
Short reaction. Interesting mix of legal, flow, and soft catalysts today.
Yep, and connecting the dots, analysts are watching open interest and implied volatility term structures in names like Disney and Nvidia. Sustained directional option buying can compress or skew implied vol and feed back into the underlying stock's moves.
So what should listeners watch tomorrow? Give the priority list.
Number 1. Litigation calendars. Filings and lead plaintiff motions tied to the early August windows, especially the Grail and GeneDx notices. Those dockets will move sentiment quickly. Number 2. Nvidia follow-through. Any after-hours commentary or analyst clarifications. Number 3. Additional OSI rollouts. More members would be noteworthy. Number 4. Crypto headlines and macro liquidity, which could affect that ProShares ETF flow. And number 5. Any follow-ups from HSBC on Intel or Needham on Meta and Crocs. Small changes in tone often produce outsized intraday flows.
Good checklist. Quick, rapid-fire recap for listeners. Short bullets, please.
Disney's options were call-heavy, about 2/3 of flow. BitGo received a class action notice. Procter & Gamble had brand and relief activity. Snowflake gained a new OSI partner in Solid. Nvidia showed heavy volume weakness.
And a clear investment reminder.
This is for informational purposes only. It is not personalized investment advice and should not be taken as a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any security. Analysts note the data suggests both risks and opportunities. Monitor filings, earnings, and regulatory updates before making any portfolio decisions.
Key takeaways in plain language. Wrap it up for listeners.
First, a cluster of securities class action notices and imminent filing deadlines inject short-term legal risk across multiple sectors, so watch early August docket activity. Second, heavy volume in Nvidia and concentrated derivative flow in Disney indicate elevated market attention, which can amplify moves. Third, structural initiatives like the Open Semantic Interchange are multi-quarter stories that could re-rate platform vendors if adoption and monetization follow. And finally, analyst notes and subtle shifts in tone will continue to move microcaps and large caps alike in the near term.
Final quick reaction? That's a wrap.
Yep, lots to track. And some clean themes to watch going into next week.
Thanks for joining today. If you have questions about anything we covered, head to stockalpha.ai, where you can ask us directly and we'll answer live. For more market analysis and insights, visit stockalpha.ai. We'll see you tomorrow on Alpha Recap.